So now before we start creating the tables, we need to do a little bit of thinking and planning on what our tables are going to be. So for this example, we're going to make two tables. We're going to make a table that holds navigation items for our web page or our menu, and we're going to make a table that holds a list of YouTube videos. So similar to the example I showed you earlier, where I have a table full of my digital craft videos, we're going to do a smaller scale version of that. So basically in this series, our example we're going to be working with is just going to be a web page with a dynamically generated navigation, and we're going to output a list of our videos. So let's talk about those two tables. I've opened up a Google document here, just a generic drawing here, and I'm just going to use this to plan out our tables. People have all different ways, methods of kind of sketching out their tables. I like to call them a database sketch. Some people call them a schema or a schema, or a database map. There's a bunch of different terms and a bunch of different methods to doing it. So we'll start off with the table name, and we'll just call this nav for navigation. Now underneath here we want to think of the columns, or sometimes called fields, in the table that we think we might need to have here. Every table is going to need what's called a primary key, and many times that primary key has a name of ID, and we'll go ahead and roll with that. So this is going to be pretty much the index of our table, and each nav item in our table will get a unique ID number. Next, we're going to want to do the label. So what you see in the nav bar when it's loaded on the page, we want the URL. So the destination, when you click on the nav bar, you click on this link, where does it go? We'll do a target, and this will determine whether, when clicked, if it's going to open up in a new tab or window, or if it's going to open within itself. We'll do position. So this will determine where on the nav bar each item is going to go. And lastly, we'll do status. I like to often add this field no matter what. It helps to turn an item on and off without having to delete it from the database. Say you want to take a certain link off the nav bar temporarily or something, you can use this status field here to disable it, rather than deleting it and then having to go back in and add it later. So this should be good for the nav bar. Next we have our videos table. So just like the nav table, we're going to give each video an ID. We're also going to assign a YouTube ID, and let's just call that YouTube_ID. A label should be the title of the video. Position and status. So this should be enough to get us started. It's a very tapered down version of what I've got going on my site, but it's enough to get us by in this example. So we're going to flip back over to PHP MyAdmin, and we're going to go ahead and create the tables.